Okay, it is time for Dante's notes. So we are going to read everything that has these exclamation marks because I haven't gotten to them yet. So Mephistopheles. So we have seen Mephi undergo the change as well from a bus to a bus boat. Okay. Mephistopheles. It's our mobile office, our home, and our vehicle. The sinners and I eat, sleep, go to work, and fight here. It looks like a mix of a train and a bus, but everyone calls it a bus for some reason. I guess it makes sense considering our department's name. You know, now that they mentioned that it looks like. Honestly, I did think that Mephi was actually a train before because of the structure, right? Especially look at this seal, it looks like a train more than a bus. But now that when we have the Lobotomy Corp choo-choo train as well, it's like express train to hell, right? And it's just, yeah, funny because considering Dante's journey, it's really towards Inferno. So I think that's pretty clever too. Okay. Apparently, it's powered by an engine that Faust designed. This is it. I thought that Faust kind of like designed and built Mephi's outer parts as well. So that's why I was thinking, oh, why is she not involved when the molar fixers were trying to, of course, change Mephi's appearance? So everything special about Mephistopheles comes from its engine. Not only does it power the vehicle so that the bus can drive us to places, but it also lets us extract identities from other worlds. We can also enter break rooms or training rooms via its back door, all thanks to that engine. So we've known about this. It seems that Mephistopheles can be upgraded and fitted with additional functions. I think one of the sinners said it's like the bus itself is growing or something. I don't remember who said it though. Yeah, it's what Mika said, that with the core intact, Mephistopheles can actually change into anything. And we were saying that Mephi might have its own, like, identities. You can change it into many different kinds of transportation, I guess. Okay, record 2. Oh. The bus really transformed into a boat. I guess this is what the additional functions meant. Further modifications and performance upgrades were made possible by using both the resonance tuning fork and Mephistopheles' engine. Oh, they actually used it! Now, I guess they need it because they're going to water, right? So that Mika person, he or she is, was in a constant state of astonishment now that I think about it. Heck, it's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. I wouldn't be surprised if all kinds of fantastical functions get added into the future. Get added to it in the future. Oh, they're teasing. This is pretty cool. Mephi's cool. Faust did such a great job. Okay. We're done. Oh! Oh, they explain everything here. Okay, I think I remember one when I posted a video of that part where Heathcliff was falling, and I think somebody commented that those are the mirror dungeons, and I didn't know it at that time, so it's actually here. Okay. Record 1. One of the dungeon types we can enter via the back door. Once we enter, there's the training ticket luxcavation dungeon to the left and the thread luxcavation dungeon to the right. Looks like we can gather resources to strengthen the sinners by battling abnormalities or enemies we've faced in the past. We have to send Encephalon to enter these, since they also require Mephistopheles' engine to operate. That is so cool. Okay. Mirror Dungeons, Record 1. They're dungeons we can access via the back door. The corridor that leads to the mirror dungeon is made of cold, heavy metal. It inspires a different kind of anxiety from our usual wooden doors and corridors. Yes, okay. At first, there was just a single door leading to a mirror dungeon, while the others were shut. A second door opened at some point though, so now we've got two. Considering that Faust let us know when the doors would open, I'm gonna guess that there are specific conditions for them to open, or maybe they follow a certain schedule. Okay, whenever I enter a mirror dungeon, I emerge to a place resembling a misty cosmos. I can choose which sinners to bring with me into each of the mirror dungeons. Yes, okay. According to Faust, Mephistopheles' engine actively stabilizes the mirror dungeons we're allowed to enter via the back door. Their ultimate purpose seems to be to improve mine and the sinner's capabilities. Faust recommended that we make frequent visits to the mirror dungeons and back door, even if it meant expending the encephalin used for the engine. Oh, okay. Of course, a lot of things happen there. We get to learn how to use the IDs better. Okay, next is Refraction Railway Line 1. Ooh. Okay, though it's closed now, we've been to this station before. The whole place had a bluish tint to it. We encountered and fought some familiar faces, but many of the abnormalities in there were entities we had encountered in the lobotomy corp branches so far. I recall that we've interacted with some of these abnormalities before in the mirror dungeons. Faust says that our interaction with them in the mirror dungeons were through some kinds of spaces. Their mental spaces and worlds, that is. I guess the railway happened to stop by one of those worlds. Then, maybe it's not a simulation. I don't know. Yeah, I was thinking that it's a simulation, right? So like like if it's in Genshin, it would be called the ley lines, because we open it and it's the memory of the world. So in here, so we've already interacted with them, and it's like, you know, the recorded experience, and then we will play through it again and again, but I guess it's not. Maybe it's not a simulation? Okay. Refraction Railway Line 2. I haven't played this yet, actually. This place has a greenish tint, unlike Line 1 with its blue hue. Huh. Yeah, I wonder if the colors have any significance. I bet the next one will be a different color, and so on and so forth. Again, we fought some more abnormalities we'd only had glimpses of before. Everyone cheered when they saw that Line 2 had fewer stations, than Line 1 did, until Yisang noticed some symbols on the wall and theorized that we were supposed to run this line multiple times. Okay, a new station was added with each new cycle, though we still had to go through the earlier stations first. Around that time we were on our 4th cycle, Heathcliff began loudly complaining that he was tired of doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. Some sinners seemed to grow increasingly less restless as well. But the crisis was averted thanks to Yisang, who said that the sign seemed to say that the 5th cycle was the last one they had to complete. Oh my god, so there are 5th cycles? Once we wrapped up our 5th cycle, we were able to find a large hoard of various resources from the lost and found. From what I can tell, each line's going to have different routes and conditions to completing them. I'll look into it soon. Hopefully it doesn't end soon. Okay. Refraction Railways. A place we can access using the back door. Gregor tells me that it looks a lot like the city's subway stations. It looks pretty dilapidated, as though it's been here for a long time. There's what appears to be a subway train on the rails. The subway train kind of resembles our Mephistopheles, except it looks like it's been left to rot for a long time. The subway train didn't budge, with just one sinner inside it. Oh, okay. So you cannot just go alone. When the other sinners joined, however, the door closed all on its own and began taking us somewhere. The sinners told me that it took us to the next stop. What I can tell from my experience here so far is that each station led to a different environment, some of which were places we've been to in the past. The door closes behind us once we get off the subway train onto a new station. Then an abnormality or some enemies attack us with no rhyme or reason. leading to immediate combat. Yeah. Once the fight's over, the subway train door opens again. Once we're all aboard, it takes us to the next stop. Rinse and repeat until we reach the terminus. Okay, so we have no choice. When the train stops, we'll have to fight. Okay, record 2. Faust tells me that they appear to be like simulations or a series of locations generated in order to improve our capabilities, akin to the functions of mirrored dungeons or the Luxcavation dungeons from the back door. That makes sense. We encountered enemies like Cromer in there, but all they did was fight us. Maybe they're also just simulations after all. Yeah, like they're not talking, they just appear and then roar. Okay. Not sure if it's putting us through a very realistic simulation or if it's actually taking us to where abnormalities reside. I still don't know enough about this place to say for sure. Okay. So is it really traveling? I think this is what Dante is asking, right? Is the train really traveling? Because we're on the bus, right? Of course, traveling in a sense, but does the railway actually take us somewhere rather than just, moving in place? Interesting. Once we made it to the end of the subway route, we were allowed to return to the bus via one of the stations. Okay. One of the sinners was furious, complaining that it sent us on a wild goose chase for absolutely nothing. Until he saw Faust popping open the lost and found box and picking up a whole hoard of resources. This is Heathcliff. Until he saw... Right? So it's only Heathcliff who would actually say this. Like we have Gregor, Merceau, Sinclair, and Heathcliff. And Yi-sang. Yi-sang doesn't complain, right? Okay, the back door. A door on the back end of Mephistopheles. Past its corridor full of doors connected to each sinner's private lodgings or break rooms. The sinners tell me that each room has unique looks and different interior designs. Faust explained that they may be reflections of each sinner's personal psyche or memories. We have seen this before, like the base EGOs. Okay. There are more people on this bus than the number of doors we actually use, but the ones we do use can lead to different spaces depending on who opens them first. 2 sinners could enter the same door only to end up in different rooms, for example. The doors are labeled with names denoting whose rooms they lead to. There are also doors that just lead to the other side of the walls they're on. Okay. The door to my room opens to a corridor leading to the Mirror Dungeons and Luxcavation Dungeons. I can see that the corridor past the back door extends beyond the area we use, but somebody put a sign there warning us not to trespass. We almost had a huge accident when Heathcliff, yes, tried to go past the threshold in spite of the warnings. Something tells me that there are dangerous things or territories in the deeper parts of the corridor. Heathcliff's panicked face is still fresh in my memory, and Faust's uncharacteristic urgency too. Ryoshu calls this endless space the corridor. I can tell that she's not talking about just any corridor, but what else could she be possibly talking about? So they explained this, that it is a technology as well, but they didn't go further into details. It would be interesting to know what this is, actually. Okay, so we finished Limbus Company and Mephistopheles and the like, right? I finished that one. Okay. Alright, so the next one is the nests. What did they add here? Okay, they added a lot. Okay, Corp. Okay, we finished reading 1 and 2, so 3, 4, and 5. Okay. I didn't quite understand why they were flying a bunch of drones around the city, filming scenes of death and pain, but it looks like there was a reason for all that. Yes, they were feeding the eye. So I learned some things about K-Corp's nest while carrying out their request, but I'm not sure it's okay for me to leave a record of them. Well, they've erased the memories of the sinners, right? And it didn't work for us, so we'll have to keep it. Okay, below are some information that I'm not supposed to write down, but I wanted to record it anyway. Here goes nothing. Yes, because memories are not quite reliable. Who knows, one day I might even end up forgetting everything. They explained that the HP ampules were actually infinitesimally tiny nanorobots helping regenerate the body. Apparently, they were so small that a collection of them just happened to look like some green fluid. But none of that was true. They weren't anything even remotely close to nanobots. Yes, the ampules were just filled with some green fluid. Okay. K-Corp's HP bullets, also known as the regeneration ampules, aren't like ointments. It returns the body of the person injected with it to a form they remember as being unhurt. Stefanette, K-Corp's founder, went to the outreaches of the outskirts. Okay, and brought back this organism they call the Tearful Thing, from which they extract the fluid. I think that Tearful Thing was once human, from what I've seen through resonating with the Golden Bough, the story of Stefanette and that explorer that she met. It seems like their wish was that no one would ever suffer from pain again. And the wish was granted in some form anyway. Theoretically speaking, its tears can heal literally any part of a body as long as its brain is intact. It's quite a bit sad when you think about it, right? The way it all ended. Just like its name, the Tearful Thing sheds tears when it feels sorrow. And by processing or watering down its tears are the ampules K-Corp Singularity made. At first, the founder Stefanette drew its tears by sharing sad or emotional stories, but once she passed away, those who seized power afterward buried it in a constant stream of violent, shocking imageries to produce its tears more efficiently. Yeah, this is what's the saddest thing about it. Like, imagine sacrificing your humanity for the sake of humanity as well, but after all of it, you just become a commodity and to be subjected to capitalism. Okay, that's why the drones were filming people's deaths, so that they could force the Tearful Thing to watch those violent and shocking tragedies. Looks like making it watch the same tragedy over and over isn't as efficient. They will become numb. Yeah, they have to keep feeding it new, different scenes of violence. That's why they're importing similar footage from the other nests they were planning to use. The glass window tech similar to the mirror to give it a constant supply of footage, but our involvement seems to have thwarted that. You know what's interesting is that they keep talking about this feeling of numbness. The way they said that maybe if we keep dying over and over, we wouldn't care anymore, right? Because we just have Dante to turn back the time. And it's quite really crafty to see that happening with the Tearful Thing as well, because you're exposed to the same stimuli over and over and it becomes, less and less effective. That's a very good thing to see those parallels in the same chapter. Considering that the Tearful Thing is, after all, an organism, it also seems to be capable of producing offsprings. Alfonso called the one we saw a child entity. I don't know how, but if I were to hazard a guess, I'd say that they are trying to improve their production rates by using the Tearful Thing's children. Oh my god. I did not expect this. I did remember Alfonso saying a child entity. When she said the child entity, is that it is not developed yet. I didn't think that it was a literal offspring of the big one. So, dang. I guess we'll have to go back to K-Corp at some point. Okay, record 5. I'm only a little curious, but I wonder what would happen if a prosthetics user were to be injected with a K-Corp ampule. We learned everything about their singularity, from its origins to its production methods, but after they put us through the memory wipe procedure, I'm the only one who remembers it. I decided to lay low and pretend that the procedure worked. Even with my limited knowledge of the city, I felt like this information was probably pretty important, yes. I usually don't show these notes to the sinners anyway, but I'll have to be extra careful about it from now on. Okay, can you imagine if everything that Dante is writing is being saved and stored in a cloud storage, and then somebody from Limbus company can actually read what they're writing? Oh my god. Okay. Next, L Corp. Okay, I think we read this one, right? Did we? Oh yeah, we did. Oh, so record 2. Looks like they left behind some of the EGO equipment in the lobotomy corp branches once used to manage their abnormalities. I think there are some conditions and risks to using those EGO equipment, like the weapons or the armor. Makes sense, since they're extracted from the abnormalities that lobotomy corp used to manage. They also seem to affect their users' mood and speech patterns. Considering that they're made from abnormalities, they might pose a problem during our future visits to the lobotomy corp branches. Okay. N Corp, R Corp. R. Located in District 18's nest. With what I've heard about R Corp from its related sinners, it seemed a little different from the other wings I've known so far. So we have the rabbit, the rhino, and the... Are there... Reindeer, right? Rabbit, rhino, and reindeer. Okay, while most wings provide many a convenience by utilizing their singularities to improve people's quality of life, R Corp mainly deals in armed services like mercenaries. Okay, R Corp's power as a wing comes from the quality of its military services. Okay, the rabbit protocol is that. Alright. Otis added that as important as a troop size is, much of its strength in battle will come from field experience and mental fortitude. In that sense, she says R Corp's combatants, soldiers, employees, are like killing machines with undaunted spirit on top of being great in health. Gregor said it's uncommon for ordinary soldiers to lose their will to fight and then flee the battlefield or fall into panic, and those who don't are the exceptions. I wonder if R Corp runs war games and simulations or something. Okay, but what if they're being injected something that makes them numb to all of that, right? Okay. Record 2. Hearing what R Corp's identities have to say, the wing has a team called the Fourth Pack, okay, with 3 divisions, rabbits, reindeer, and rhinos. This is what I said earlier. The rabbits are all-rounders deployed to watch to a wide variety of missions. They also go to the lobotomy corp, right, if we call for them. Okay. The reindeer have surgically gained antlers that convert mental strength into physical force. Whiplash. Okay. Well, I haven't met the rhinos yet. I'm told their specialty is wrecking havoc. Okay. I have to read the R's. I think I got all of them now. I'm glad I do. I think I will read N, R, and Leo first because they're done. Okay, T Corp, right? They steampunk and stuff. Okay. Located in District 20's nest, looks like they specialize in using temporal technology. I've only experienced T Corp through resonating with the Golden Bough. I've never actually been to T Corp nest before, so I'm not sure how true to life that experience was. They seem to value technology and inventions. The whole nest is literally monochromatic. I think having any color is a privilege permitted only to those with power. Black fumes constantly spewing out of numerous buildings and have darkened its skies. That is so industrial. Okay. It sounds very bleak, right? But It's quite interesting how you have all that technology, but then there's no color. This is one of the nests I'm also very curious about, because I thought at first that what if Dante actually comes from here because of the clock thing? So it would be great to find out what else they do. Okay, so we have U Corp. Located in District 21's nest, they use the singularity called the resonance tuning fork. It can meld together two items of entirely different nature into one, as though they've always been a part of each other. So that's why they use it for Mephi. Okay. Somehow, the power of the resonance tuning fork melded guns and monstrous crabs called the trash crabs together. Oh, that too. They could use those melded firearms as though they were naturally born with them. I thought it was just like because they stayed there because the trash stayed there for a long time, it became part of them, like barnacles. But okay, that is because of the technology. Okay, U Corp is scattered across the Great Lake, with most of its major institution located on its surface. Okay, which means that we're in dire need of a ship if we want to go anywhere in U Corp. So we got Mephistopheles modified into a ship using the resonance tuning fork. I see. Seems to me that it overlaps with this other region called the outskirts. Oh, interesting. So of course, for chapter 5, we will be in U Corp, and we saw that the Great Lake seems to have like many different parts, like rice paddies. So I would think that there are many different things that are going to happen there. So it's going to be a lot of timing and yeah, finding out which way to go first. Okay. And then we have W Corp. Okay, these are new. So what I heard from the W Corp is the warp train, right? And then we have the identities cleaning up. Okay, let's see. Located in District 23's nest. I've never visited their place yet, but I learned a thing or two about it from conversations with the identities from this wing. W Corp seems to be operating at a transit service advertised as warp trains and take passengers from platform to platform in mere seconds. Tickets for warp trains are apparently pretty costly, and I'm told that the first class ones are plain ridiculous. Shouldn't you just cut costs and drive at that point? Depends on where you're going and if you want to go quickly. Okay. Writing down additional details I've heard. While cars can take you anywhere, warp trains are preferred because travel by car can get incredibly complicated. We did run into a lot of traffic. Okay. Makes sense, considering the procedures we went through just to get into K-Corp's nest. Speaking more, it seems the bigger problem is the roads are made inefficiently. They're so twisted and convoluted that it makes an unreasonable amount of time to travel between backstreets areas by car. Even if the liner distance is short, the road to the destination will be labyrinthine. Purportedly, there were wide open roads called highways connecting the nests, but that comes with a set of conditions and costs as well. Okay. Like, we don't have a railway system in my city, so we can pretty much get around with rickshaws. But I always like taking the train, or specifically the subway, when I'm visiting other cities. So, yeah. I wonder how fast this warp train could go. It says seconds, but I've seen some sinners talk about how nauseating it is. But how would you feel nauseated if it lasts for that time? It's like, can you even, breathe in and breathe out before you get to your destination? I don't know. Okay. Record 3. Learned a shocking fact while talking with sinners done up in W Corp's identities. Though they didn't tell me directly, it seems that the trips on warp trains, which take no more than a few minutes, it's a few minutes, seconds. From outsiders' perspective, make their passengers perceive a terribly long amount of time. Ah, okay. Dissolving their sanity and deforming them beyond recognition once the ride is finally over. So this is why it actually has the opposite effect. Incredibly slow. Okay. Then it's the job of the cleanup agents to sort out the mess every time. Okay. It's not just, you know, the lurching, but it's also them going crazy, so they have to beat the shit out of them to knock them back into their senses. Okay, thank goodness we have a bus. This is all speculation based on conversations with the identities, so I'm planning to keep this information to myself. Okay, so those were the additional information for the nests. Then we move on to the next one.